Shabbat Shalom and greetings to you all. International Holocaust Remembrance Day passed without much fanfare or honor. What were we supposed to remember? I forget. Just as the world seems to have forgotten decency and humanity. But at least we have Groundhog Day. But who wants to relive those days again? Unfortunately, it's beginning to look like we are. Well, welcome to Groundhog Day. I think of it as my dear friend Nikki's birthday, and I'm not sure what the rodent predicted, but it sure feels like an early spring to me. Wouldn't that be a nice change? And I think people think a lot more of the movie than they do the event when someone says Groundhog Day. But a time warp, of course, could have been on any day. Groundhog Day had nothing to do with the lesson of choices we make and decency of humanity, but we still refer to living an event as Groundhog Day when we live it over and over and over again. Isn't it interesting how definitions can be changed and influenced over time? Deja vu now is Groundhog Day. And speaking of holidays, you might not have noticed, but one came and went. Last week we had what can be considered a minor holiday, although maybe it's not really a holiday. You don't get time off work. But it was a day set aside for special honor. It was Tu B'Shvat. And that simply means the 15th of the month of Shvat. But it's the new year of the trees. Kind of like a Hebrew Arbor Day on steroids. Trees are so important and they should be honored. So why not give them their own new year? While they do many things. Here's 5 of the major things that they do. They improve our air quality. They've always been referred to as the lungs of the earth. They absorb pollutants. They filter contaminants. They produce oxygen, without which we would die. And they don't ask for much in return. They improve water quality, and they reduce the erosion and flooding that takes place because the leaf canopy catches the water before it can hit and erode the ground. Now, the third thing they do, they temper climate, our great enemy. And thank God for that. They lower air temperature and humidity. The evaporation of water from trees has an air conditioning effect. Now, there was actually a study, probably promoted by, Greta Climate Girl, which showed that trees in parking lots can reduce asphalt temperatures by 36 degrees and car interiors by 47 degrees. Now, I know I always try and park by a tree for the shade. It's not always that easy. Go Greta. Now, the other thing is they conserve energy because well-placed residential trees shade the home in summer, which is why you often find deciduous trees by homes. They cool the house in the summer because of the leaves. And when the leaves fall off for winter, they don't block the sun. And finally, and this may be the most important, certainly for some people it is, they're a natural habitat for birds and animals, our great partners who share the earth with us. Trees promote healthier ecosystems and provide shelter and food. Lemon tree, very pretty, and the lemon flower is sweet. But the fruit of the poor lemon isn't possible to eat. Yay, trees. They do deserve a holiday. And how nice to celebrate something. But we have been spending so much time in mourning instead of in celebrating. Now, unfortunately, the all-forgotten hostages still languish in their Joseph-like caves. And I hope and pray every day that they will be released. For too long now, people have been deprived of real community for many years, partly because of the pandemic, and then afterwards it just never really reconnected again. And these were our societal spiritual observances when we grouped. And we've bred a society of loneliness, fear, disruption of what was once normal, that spiritual gathering is fostered for thousands of years, all the while contributing to diminishing mental health. And just as people were beginning to come together again, fear is keeping them apart, when you take a look at what's going on now, whether created by foolishness and blind hate, or by people saying that there appears to be no attempt to prevent or punish intolerable treatment. A discriminatory world has now become the acceptable norm. But there is no room for discrimination, black, Asian, Jewish, or other. We have been reading about the Exodus, which was about this. 2 plagues warning about mob mentality and behavior, and 2 about discrimination. 1 on perception, and 1 on visible differences. We are now doing the exact same thing. We are openly discriminating, and it has to stop. Now, you can't forget, God created all man. He didn't distinguish. It was man who created distinctions. Man gave names. Man has ego, and ego interferes. We gave names, but we didn't stop, did we? We gave positive and negative with them. And we're just a week away now from the Chinese New Year. And this year will be the year of the dragon, the 5th of the 12 Chinese zodiac signs. Theirs run a year, not a month, like we're used to. And the internet will tell you which sign you are and what the year bodes for you. You just key in what year you were born, it'll tell you, which animal you are. And then you can find your prediction for the year. Now, of course, if it's a Chinese New Year, it has to be a new moon. And it will be the new moon of Adar, which is the 12th month of the spiritual year. And this year, there is an Adar 1 and an Adar 2 because the Hebrew leap year adds a month. And the month it adds is the last, Adar. 7 times in a 19-year cycle, it takes place. And for you astrologers out there, that happens to be the same cycle of the lunar nodes, which currently are Gemini and Sagittarius, 1 north, 1 south. Your north node pointing to your astrological destiny and your south node to your karmic past. Now, 2 other events take place in Adar, both considered minor. One of them a little bit more major than the other. On the 7th, we have the anniversary of the birth and death of Moses. And on the 14th, of course, we have Purim, a holiday chosen by Lot, celebrating a genocide which did not occur, and which we'll talk about as we get closer and closer. It is the great story of Queen Esther, and it's going to be on March 24th this year. Now, it, like the Chinese New Year, is an event celebrated in all corners of the world. Wherever the people are, great gatherings occur with great celebrations. Just as we gather as a like-minded group of collective consciousness of secret showing faith, any and all faith, love, any and all love, true chavura, which means fellowship, as we express our nature of kindness, compassion, thoughts, feelings, hopes, dreams, and wishes that unites us all. In this community, house of spirit, Beth Ruach, sharing and bringing light, keeping fear at bay. And even though together, we are individual in our approach, each connecting in his or her or their own way. So once again, please do go ahead and invite everybody you know, physically, digitally, psychically, emotionally, spiritually, any way at all to gather and share. From Psalm 133, the Hine Matov. Come together. Hine Matov. Shevet David. Hine Matov. Shevet David. How good, how pleasant it is for brothers and sisters together. Community. Community. Together. Now, we support each other in this community. Let's all spread love, goodwill, and fellowship to the world. Remember, friends, this is you setting aside just a little bit of sacred time in your sacred space to honor and converse with whoever, whatever you happen to believe in, because we all believe in something. It's a part of your intention, your kavanah that you put out to the world. It's your goodwill. And goodwill and intention are the roots of what you control, of what you can correct. Your intention sets in motion everything that occurs in your lives, my friends. So let's take some time now. Let's use that intention. Let's send some of that goodwill, some light, some healing, some renewal out to whoever you know that needs it. Healing and renewal is for everyone because it just floats through space, finding those in need. So send it out for those you know and for the souls and spirits of everybody you love. So think of whoever that you know that needs healing and renewal and love, or just plain goodwill. Focus on them. Call their names. It's not just for people. It is for our pets. It is for the earth. It is the healing of the world, the tikkun olam. That's part of our spiritual genetic makeup, and a part of the healing of the world is ascending thoughts and energy for health and renewal. It's for everybody. They don't have to be sick. It's for those in our hearts and our minds. So let's all send energy out for the people in need everywhere. And special thoughts and prayers always for those who are truly in need of assistance. We pray for those who need prayer. We don't have to know them. We want health, recovery, good life for everybody around us. For Lisa and her baby. For Sharon and Pam. For Joel. For Sherry the builder and his buddy. Great team. For poor Lindsay. Shelley. For John and Maria. For Charles. Gloria and Doria, Teresa, for Johnny, for Fern, for Ronnie, for Connie and Snoopy, Kay, for Danny, Dita, for all those suffering and in need. Let's not forget to include the familiars of our lives, all our sacred animal friends, everywhere, for everybody you know in need, for the whole world, for the bee. Friends, it is the kindness, the healing wishes, goodwill, and love we all send out. It just circles the world, finding those in need. So thank you, each of you, for all you do, for all you care, because the world is a world of spirit. Spirit, my friends, never dies. May the source of strength bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage. Make our lives a blessing. The renewal of body. The renewal of spirit. Let us say, Amen. Let us all have our spirits renewed. This is the great prayer for healing. If we call upon God to heal as He's healed before, Mishaberach, may He who blessed, because all healing is a blessing, and you will hear this prayer at every service in every synagogue all over the world, with names being called out to help heal those in need. So let us all send and receive healing and renewal energy in our efforts to love, to share, to care, to grow. Now this week, I'm going to read a rare Torah parsha named for a non-Jewish character, Yitro, Jethro. But in this book of names, we saw he had several other names. But he was Moses' father-in-law, and he comes to Moses. Exodus 18:5. And Jethro, Moses' father-in-law, and his sons and his wife came to Moses, to the wilderness in which he was camping at the mountain of God. And he said to Moses, I, your father-in-law, Jethro, have come to you, and your wife and her 2 sons with her. And Moses went out to his father-in-law, and he bowed, and he kissed him, and they asked each other how they were, and they came to the tent. Now, this is the closest to a relationship we see of Moses' personal life. And while he asks his father-in-law how he was, he sees his wife and his children. He doesn't greet them, that we're aware of. And in fact, we're told nothing of his interaction with his own family. Why does the Torah announce the arrival of Moses' wife and children, but not describe a personal meeting scene between them and Moses? This is another missing piece. It's a perfect opportunity to write a midrash and speculate on what actually took place at that meeting. Well, Moses catches Jethro up on everything that happened and everything that is happening, and explains how he processes his day and how busy he is. Jethro suggests a system of judging so that Moses doesn't have to do this all by himself. Exodus 18:24. And Moses listened to his father-in-law's voice and did everything that he had said. Now this system put in place ushered in the era of the judges ultimately. It lasted all the way through that period, close to 1,000 years. But I don't want to spend any time on that, because this week is about our conclusion, the Great Epiphany. We had the introduction via the plagues, the climax with the splitting of the Red Sea. They happened very quickly, and now the conclusion, although we are far from finishing the book of the journey. Exodus 19:1, in the third month after the exodus of the children of Israel from the land of Egypt, so it's not very far time-wise. On this day they came to the wilderness of Sinai, and Israel camped there, opposite the mountain. The people are at the mountain of God. Today's the day. Exodus 19:16. And it was on the third day. It was morning. It was thunder and lightning, heavy cloud on the mountain, and the sound of a horn, very strong. And the entire people that was in the camp trembled. And Moses brought out the people towards God from the camp, and they stood up at the bottom of the mountain. Mount Sinai was all smoke because the Lord came down on it in fire, and its smoke went up like the smoke of a furnace. The whole mountain trembled greatly. Thunder on the mountain, fire on the moon, it's a ruckus in the air. The sun will be here soon. Today's the day. Gonna grab my trombone and blow. Well, there's hot stuff here, and it's everywhere I go. Now the mountain's shaking. 600,000 people are there. What a show. These are the words now of God himself. Nowhere else in human history has the instructions of spiritual laws and practice been delivered to everyone, not just one person, who ends up saying, hey, God told me. This time everybody gets to hear it. Exodus 21. Vayadaber devarim. And God spoke all these words, saying, I'm the Lord your God, who brought you out from the land of Egypt, out of the house of slaves. Notice the introduction is not of the creator of the world, but it's from he who gave you freedom, which is obviously considered to be the most important thing you can have. And unless you read this in the biblical Hebrew, you're not going to notice something truly amazing that takes place. The tense of the words. It's never the plural you. Throughout this section of the 10 words, the 10 commandments, the commands are cast in the second person singular. Elsewhere in Hebrew law, it's always plurals or third person singulars. But the commandments are unique. They are addressed to each person individually, so that every time you read them, think them, say them. It is to you, yourself alone. You alone with God, getting advice on how to live life. We've had our introduction. Now they all begin, and we know how they begin. You shall have no other God beside me. Now the list you're reading is probably more poetic than would have originally been said, because they would have been very terse enough to be carved in stone. No other gods, no images, no broken oaths. Remember the Sabbath, which of course meant to cease. Remember the stopping. Honor mother and father. No murder, no adultery, no stealing, no false witness, no coveting. That's all that would have been carved on those stone tablets. So what do they mean? Why are they still significant in our lives? If you knew nothing else, is this enough on how to live life? We all saw the movie, and of course we were all there. They were carved on 2 stone tablets, so they couldn't be too wordy, nor do they have to be. And of course, we then get books and books and books of further interpretation and explanation. But they truly do speak for themselves. No other God. Just like light or sound emanates from a single source and vibrates and expands, there is a point at the root of everything. The one, he who causes being, was the point from which everything emanated. No image. This goes beyond mere recognition. We're not limited by our 5 senses which could do so much to limit our ability to understand. But we cannot make an image of something that is beyond our ability to actually imagine. The third is one of the more interesting ones, although they all are. Exodus 27, you shall not bring up the name of the Lord your God for a falsehood. Now, we say do not take the name of the Lord in vain. We think it has to do with swearing. Nah, it has nothing to do with that. It has to do with making an oath. Swear to God, most of which are never fulfilled. But they will be in the future. Swear to God, I'll fulfill. We even went so far to incorporate the annulment of vows into what has become the most sacred day of the year. Remember the Sabbath. Sabbath means stop, cease, take time to stop. It allows you to be like God. Work and then stop. Honor mother and father, the roots of where you come from, and the energy of male and female, the two elements needed for creation, or at least what the ancient people believed were necessary for creation. Then there's this little mini Russia commandment. Exodus 20:13. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not testify against your neighbor as a lying witness. They're pretty self-evident. No murder. This is where the King James translation is wrong. It's not kill. Murder is very specific because it contains intention. Killing may not. This is not just about physical acts. We often murder the spirit of people. No adultery. The rules for marriage were different for men and for women. However, you would have to go back to the Egyptian pyramid texts, which are thousands of years old, to understand how this came about. On death, the soul of the deceased was guided along the path of the underworld by Anubis and asked questions by a series of assessors or judges. His heart was then weighed against a feather, and his heart needed to be lighter. One of those questions was about love and sex. Have you loved only where the heart is? This strikes at the emotional commitments we make. No stealing. It could be as simple as an apple from the grocery store or time at work for personal business. No lying. Lies create a momentum of their own, and they lay at the root of lashon hara, evil speech. Last, no coveting. Friends, when we covet, we long for what someone else has, and this breeds jealousy and envy and diminishes our own sense of worth. Do not diminish yourself. Remember, no dream is too big, no challenge too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach. It is always accomplished step by step. Now, it used to be your daily prayer was as simple as reciting the 10 Commandments and saying the Shema, that six-word prayer that honors monotheism. Listen, you who struggle, the Lord is God, the Lord alone. How simple and easy those two things are to do every day. If you read nothing else in this week's Parsha, read this. It's not big, but it will change your life. Because when we break any of these, we break the rhythm of our world. Broken cutters, broken saws, broken buckles, broken laws, broken bodies, broken bones, broken voices on broken phones. Take a deep breath, feel like you're choking. Everything is broken, but it doesn't have to be. Nothing has to be broken. Yes, my friends, the world's sacred. So is everything. You express your gratitude, light a candle, make a wish. Celebrate your life and the lives of those you love. Share your feelings with them. Live free, be free, honor your freedom. Be well, be happy, be blessed. Share and honor the light. All who live in the light and continue to shine. Continue to send everybody you know goodwill and love. Pray for peace and freedom for everyone. And end to terror and hatred. Remember, friends, we're a community. We learn together. We celebrate with each other. We love each other. We share this ride together, men and women equally. So let's all send out love, not fear. Send out peace, harmony, goodwill, and healing to all who need it. And please do learn to forgive. Learn to love. Open your hearts and honor the relationships of your life and tell those you love that you love them. Examine your intentions. Use them to imprint your will on the universe, because we set in motion all that happens in our lives. It is our intention, our kavana, cause and effect. It's all linked. You have time to forgive and be forgiven. You have the knowledge of what's good and bad. So acknowledge what you have done wrong to yourself, to God, and to any person you have wronged. Ask forgiveness, but do so with sincerity, accountability, and vulnerability. Forgive those who've hurt you, as you learn to be forgiving and compassionate, because the secret of forgiveness, compassion, and peace is in acceptance. Can you accept yourself, other people in the world, just as they are? Can you accept life as it is without trying to control it? If you do, you can experience the peace that acceptance brings. So keep on dreaming, keep on being, keep sharing, keep shining, keep teaching, keep spreading joy and goodwill. Do not follow fear, follow love. It's always there in front of you. Love with the heart, because we're all part of a greater whole. Expand your heart, quiet your mind, because the deepest source of real power lies in your consciousness and your ability to be mindful, to be aware and present in all of life's circumstances. You're never alone on your journey. So just keep forgiving those you need to forgive. Keep asking forgiveness from those you need to ask forgiveness of. Listen to the voice of God as he, she, it, them, they talks to you. And remember, there's only 10 little rules for life. 10 little rules to live by. 10 little rules to know. 10 simple ways to lead your life each day. 10 little ways to reap what you sow. 10 ways to be a brother. 10 ways to be a friend. 10 ways to see how life ought to be. 10 ways to get where you need to be in the end. Let these 10 words, what many consider the defining moment of mankind, the great epiphany, the public announcement, the Decalogue, the 10 Commandments, whatever you want to call it. In Hebrew, they're called the 10 words. Asheret HaDibro. Let them be the only rules you need in life. Thank you for joining me, my friends. Shabbat Shalom and blessings to you all. Take care.